Football Manager 2 is a great sequel to Football Manager 1, one of the world's first soccer management classics on the Spectrum computer. Originally released by Kevin Toms on his own addictive label, later swallowed up by the mighty Prism Leisure Corporation, way back in 1982, FM sold consistently well, although it's taken Toms over 5 years to produce a sequel. Still, patience is indeed a virtue, for Football Manager 2 adds a lot of features that will make fans of soccer management games squeal in delight. Your tram now plays to the style and formation that you select, and you can actually watch and assess the performance of your individual players. There is skillful passing, tackling, crosses, lobs into the net, diving goalkeeper saves, close marking, close passing play, kick and rush, in fact an infinite variety of action. Tactical changes include man-to-man marking, choice of formations and substitutions. Other enhancements include League Cup matches, full 92-team league, sponsorship, success points, goal scorer display, enhanced transfer marker, training etc. There is an endless variety of technique of playing this game, and I'm sure you will enjoy developing your own football management style. Halftime now becomes a particular boon. Here you can swap around your team, or bring on a substitute, if you feel that your tactics aren't working. If there's a weakness in your midfield, for instance, you can put a better player in the vulnerable position, or even bring in an extra player and drop, say, a striker. This means that watching the match is not the chore it always was, but both fascinating and absolutely necessary if you're going to learn from your mistakes. Gameplay is very similar to the first game, with mostly text-based screens, although they are more colorful than the original and usually contain at least basic graphical elements. Input is mostly by moving a cursor, using either joystick or mouse depending on system, rather than entering numbers. The game again starts the player, whichever team is chosen, in Division 4 with a random allocation of players, and the player must attempt to gain promotion to Division 1, but now, as well as the FA Cup, the player can also compete in the League Cup, so eventually attempt to win the treble. Added features include team sponsorship, a training screen which allows the choice of long or short passing tactics, and the ability to place your players in positions on the pitch. This is done by moving boxes representing your players on a graphical screen while comparing individual opponent players' skills, although, like the first game, the opposing players are not named. This means opposing strikers can be man-marked. Another main difference to the first game is the graphical highlights, now on all versions, that now feature the full length of the pitch over 3 screens rather than just the goal attempts. Also, at halftime, substitutions and formation changes can be made. Following the sale of addictive games to Prism Leisure Corporation in 1987, Kevin Toms concentrated on creating a second Football Manager game. Unlike the original basic-only game, the sequel required machine code, which meant working with a number of developers for various systems. For the ZX Spectrum version, this was Bedrock software. Unlike the first game that was stagger-released over a period of 5 years, Football Manager 2 was launched on all formats at the same time in June 1988, although it was available on a much smaller range of systems: Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, Amiga, Atari ST and PC. Unlike the first game, there was no customizer utility with the original release, but in 1989, Football Manager 2 Expansion Kit was released, both as a stand-alone release and packed in with Football Manager 2.5, as well as being able to rename teams and players. This offered the chance to start in Division 1 or play in other leagues such as the Euro Super League, or as a national team in a World Championship. Critical reception was generally positive, although there were mixed reviews. In a highly positive review, based mainly on the ST version, Julian Rignall in CNVG said the game was simply a football fan's dream come true. It's a beautifully structured and presented game and is engrossing, challenging and very, very addictive, awarding a score of 9 out of 10. Sinclair users were similarly impressed, giving a score of 94%, concluding that it is an improvement on a legendary game. It still looks tatty but plays brilliantly. In contrast, Tony Dillon in a review for Commodore User gave the game only 2 out of 10, labeling the game a very big letdown with little or no improvement over the original. Additionally, he said the mouse control on the Amiga version was appallingly bad, a criticism also leveled in the positive CNVG review. John S. Davison for Page 6 said, "I'm no football fan, but I actually enjoyed this game despite its failings. As with all good simulations, I soon found myself totally absorbed by it, and the desire to play just one more match was very strong. If it does this to me, then football enthusiasts should love it." Zap said, "There is sufficient depth, particularly in the training section, for your managerial skills to be honed and varied, so lasting interest is quite high. Decision makers, this game is for you." Crash said, "Real football fans everywhere will love it. It may not have mass appeal, but it's a leader in its field." Andrew Baines for the Australian Commodore and Amiga review said, "The whole new look and feel of Football Manager 2 gives the impression of a true winner, and definitely something you grow to enjoy more and more. This one receives the top spot out of all the others as a game that is essential for everyone, as it is a true classic." Football Manager 2 entered the Gallup Game Chart at number 1, with the ZX Spectrum version becoming the best-selling game on any format in the country. What makes Football Manager 2 addictive is the same success factor as other good soccer sims. Its structure is basically sound, and matches play out realistically. Internal logic is the be-all and end-all of this sort of game. Lose it and you lose all attempt at credibility. For connoisseurs, I'd say Football Manager 2 has ruthless logic. The game offers 10, count them, difficulty levels to choose from, making it a challenge for players of all skill levels. If you like soccer management games, this is a must-have.